couple of hours. Eventually, we get into the evening hours, we lose some of our heating from the day, and we also lose some of that energy. So those chances do start to go down as we head into this evening. So still a chance that we could be looking at some heavier downpours of rain into this evening, as well as some wind gusts or perhaps some small hail, as well as some of that flash flooding. But I think that probably the best chances of seeing this rotation or this tornadic activity will be over the course of the next couple of hours. So after that, seeing these storms start to lose some of their vigor. In fact, let's take a look at our future radar. This is a good indicator of what we may see over the next 3 hours here across the southern part of the state. And you can see some of those strongest storms looking like they'll be heading over into the eastern part of the state, and behind that, perhaps not quite as many stronger storms across the south central and southwest parts of the state. So we will be looking at a gradual winding down, but for right now, still have to kind of keep on our toes or stay on our toes for the next couple of hours and keep up with the latest forecasts.
Again, we have a tornado warning that'll expire here in another minute or so, and we want to tell people to keep an eye, to stay with us here, of course, on Channel 3, but also through our Facebook live streams if you're not able to watch us on the air. And we'll keep an eye on this situation. We're going to go back to Karin here in just a minute or so, but this has been a very busy day in the weather department. We've mentioned there was one in a tornado, a funnel cloud at least spotted. We've shown some video of that down in the Platteville area. Blanchardville had a tornado warning about 2:45 this afternoon, and then this one came in for Belleville about a half hour ago. So it's been a busy day in the weather department, and we hope that everybody has been able to safely observe what's going on out there. And we've also had reporters that have been out there trying to track and see if there's any damage out there. And Keely Arthur is going to join us. She's been earlier. She was down in Platteville, and she joins us now live in the field from Keely. Where are you?
Hi there, we're just off of Business 151 in Platteville. Now, many people saw something tornado-like in the skies here today. The Weather Service working to confirm if it was in fact a tornado, but no doubt about it, a funnel of some sort. We caught up with a man who was actually working on the roof of that building doing maintenance when he saw this funnel. Let's take that video. Now, this is video courtesy of John Scanlon. He works in Platteville at Esterline Technologies. When he was doing work on the roof, he spotted the funnel. He said it lasted for about 5 minutes, kind of bobbing up and down in the sky before dissipating. All right, and in that soundbite that we were going to air, he kind of just described that it was kind of actually neat seeing the funnel. He said that he didn't really sense any danger. He was monitoring it, though. But we spoke with the fire chief of Platteville. He said he, too, was monitoring it. Anyone, though, that is not in the maybe in the news business or in kind of an emergency services role should definitely not be pulling out their phone when they see a funnel, rather going inside seeking shelter. But as of right now, a funnel in Platteville around 11:20 a.m. No injuries or structural damage to report. We will be on scene here through the 6 o'clock show monitoring what's going on here out in Platteville. I'll send it back to you.
Well, thank you very much. And for those of you who are just joining live at 4, good afternoon. Let's go over to Karin Swanson right now in the Weather Center and get the latest update. Did the tornado warning get canceled for Dane County, Karin?
It did, yeah, that's the good news. The tornado warning has now been allowed to expire for the southern part of Dane County, but we are still watching a couple of stronger storms anyway across the area. We still have that alert day in effect for the
I think it's a different microphone. Do you have the other?
I'm still on the hardwire microphone. Okay, I don't I have a yellow wireless microphone.
Sounds better now. Just keep
Can
talking.
you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Yes, to answer your question, the tornado warning that was in effect for the southern part of Dane County, that has been allowed to expire as of 4 o'clock, but we're still monitoring some stronger storms. So that's why we do still have that alert day in effect as we head through this evening. Here's where those strongest storms are located right now across pretty much the western half of Dane County, just extending into the far northern part of Greene County. Also seeing a couple of stronger storms over toward Argyle right now. All of these have been heading in that north to northeasterly direction this afternoon, and really the western part of Dane County, you're going to be seeing, if not already seeing, some very heavy downpours of rain as those storms make their way through. Elsewhere, the storms look to be a little weaker at this point, but still looking at that potential for some hail or a couple of pulse-up storms that may produce some of that tornadic activity. Here's our future Doppler track over the next 3 hours, continuing to show those storms develop and evolve right here across the southern part of the state. This is all part of a low pressure system that is rotating right to our southwest. We have had several storm reports so far this afternoon and late this morning, I should say, as well. A couple of tornado reports over toward Greene County, also one over toward Rui, and then one near the Blanchardville area. In addition, we have a flash flood watch in effect until 1 o'clock in the morning. That includes Lafayette, Greene, Rock, and Walworth counties, and that is for that potential for some of those heavier downpours of rain. Once we get past tonight, we're going to be looking for some heat and humidity alert days for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. High temperatures will be in the upper 80s to the 90s. Heat index values will make it feel even hotter than that. Temperatures right now, kind of a contrast in those temperatures with some upper 60s to low 70s, just with some of that warmer air nudging into the southwest part of the state. There's that live view here in Madison. You can see some of those raindrops rolling down our camera right now. Our temperatures this evening will be falling into the upper 60s with those scattered showers and some thunderstorms. We want to take a look at traffic here. We do have our first alert traffic, and we have been seeing some of those slowdowns at times on the Beltline, likely to continue to see those slowdowns develop as those stronger storms make their way toward the Madison area. Right now, seeing some of those slowdowns starting up right around Todd Drive in both directions, also continuing out to the Southtown Drive area in that eastbound direction. Here are some of those speeds and times in that eastbound direction. Verona Road over toward John Nolan Drive, your average speed is about 35 miles per hour. Heading out of town, looking better right now, 63 miles per hour down to Janesville. Sun Prairie will take you about 17 minutes from the downtown area.
All right, Karen, thank you very much. We'll get a more complete update here in just a few minutes.
And let us know if you need to check back in. We'll go right back to you. But in other news this afternoon, a 22-year-old man is now in custody for a fiery, deadly crash that happened early Saturday morning.
He'll face homicide charges for driving while intoxicated and reckless driving for killing a 45-year-old Madison father. His family and the Madison community still in shock. Amanda Quintana in the studio with us now with more on why he will be so missed. Amanda?
Yes, well, although Deano McCullough was the father of just one young boy, his family tells me he acted like a father to many, including some of the passengers that he drove each day on a Metro Transit bus. He worked at Metro Transit for 10 years. The company says they're heartbroken by his passing, and his sense of humor and laid-back personality will be deeply missed by both coworkers and passengers. His nephew in Green Bay says Deano was his hero, and this is a gut-wrenching loss for the family.
I never had my father in my life. My mom, she never had her father. His sisters, most of them never had their fathers, and it's such a tragedy because Deano was everyone's father figure. Like he was what you wanted to be.
As for the suspect, 22-year-old Gavin Viam, he is now in jail after being released from the hospital. Police are still waiting on toxicology results to show if he was drinking or on drugs when that crash happened Saturday morning. Madison police arrived on the scene then before fire officials when that crash happened. And with both cars up in flames, officers were only able to save one of those drivers.
Amanda Quintana joining us in studio. Amanda, thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. The nation's highest court today ruled that the latest version of President President Trump's ban on travel from mostly Muslim countries is lawful. It is a long-awaited victory for the president, who lost at almost every turn in the lower courts with two earlier versions of the ban. Angelica Alvarez explains why this third version passed muster in the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court ruling was a tremendous victory for our country.
President Trump hailed a 5-4 Supreme Court decision upholding the third version of his travel ban. It grants him broad deference on matters of national security.
We have to be tough, and we have to be safe, and we have to be secure.
Chief Justice John Roberts said the majority on the high court focused on presidential authority rather than Trump's provocative statements as a candidate and president. The ban applies to mostly Muslim countries: Libya, Iran, Somalia, Syria, Yemen, along with Venezuela and North Korea.
This president has given a rationale for excluding these specific countries because they don't have proper security screenings in place in those countries for travelers who would be coming to the United States.
Justice Sonia Sotomayor wrote a dissenting opinion saying the court failed to recognize key discrimination issues. Protesters rallied against the decision.
Just because the Supreme Court decides that something is legal doesn't make it right and doesn't make it moral. Slavery was legal. Segregation was legal. Internment of Japanese Americans was legal.
It reminds me, too, of that really shameful part of our history, and I don't want to see this country turning back towards that path.
The ban, which took effect in December, does not affect lawful permanent residents of the United States, dual citizens, or people who have already begun their visa process. Angelica Alvarez, CBS News, the Supreme Court.
The ruling affirmed broad presidential discretion over who is allowed to enter the United States. President Trump could potentially add more countries to the ban.
And President Trump pushing ahead with his call for the immediate deportation of immigrants caught crossing the border illegally, involving immigration judges.
The countries, it's called, I'm sorry, you can't come in, you have to leave. This one, we have judges. If they step on our land, we have judges. It's insane.
The president has blamed Democrats for wanting open borders, which he says allows bad people to come into the country. The immigration debate has seen rhetoric intensifying on all sides, and the intensity of the moment has leaders on both sides of the aisle urging more civility in the debate.
No one should call for the harassment of political opponents. That's not right. That's not American.
We're close to reaching rock bottom and continuing to dig. I just don't like this. I don't believe either side should be ugly to the other side.
But with the midterm congressional elections ahead in November, the war of words is likely to escalate.
Voters in 7 states are going to the polls today in primary elections. President Trump has invested time and energy in a slate of primary contests across the country that will test his clout with his own party. None is more important to President Trump than South Carolina, where the president himself appeared at a rally Monday to support Republican Governor Henry McMaster. South Carolina's race leads a batch of primary contests in New York, Utah, Colorado, Oklahoma, Maryland, and Mississippi.
Wisconsin Democratic candidate for governor Matt Flynn says he is not dropping out of the race, even though Democratic lawmakers are calling for him to get out. 2 fellow Democratic lawmakers called for him to leave the race because of legal work he did defending the Milwaukee Archdiocese against claims of sexual abuse by priests from 1989 to 2004. Taking a look at Wall Street, it closed up today. Oil prices and tech stocks, along with industrial companies, bouncing back from yesterday's sharp losses. The Dow Industrials and NASDAQ both gained 30, while the S&P 500 gained 6.
You'll be able to fly nonstop from Madison to Florida soon. Sun Country Airlines will offer 2 nonstop flights from Madison to Southwest Florida International Airport in Fort Myers and to Tampa International Airport. Seasonal flights to Fort Myers will operate twice a week, departing Mondays and Fridays, starting at the end of September.
And there's more ahead at 4 when we come back. Suicide is on the rise in the U.S.
And it's giving new urgency to suicide prevention. Gail King of CBS This Morning spoke with 5 suicide attempt survivors who provided their insight. We'll have that when Live at 4 continues.
Suicide rate in the U.S. is on the rise, and the recent deaths of Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain have many people wondering why two successful people would take their own lives.
CBS This Morning's Gail King sat down with 5 people who could provide some rare insight. Each of them is a suicide attempt survivor. They shared important advice and a message of hope.
I'm very touched that you would share your story. You should know that we're all here because we do want to learn how to be better and do better. But what is it that we don't understand?
People with mental illness are not monsters. I live with bipolar illness. I have for most of my life. I've lost my birth mom to suicide. My grandmother to suicide. I'm a 3-time attempt survivor. Suicide's not a disease. Suicide is an event, like anything else.
If you've tried 3 times, how do people close to you know he's okay now?
They don't.
They don't.
They don't. My own family doesn't trust me to this day.
What so many people are wrestling with when people make the decision to take their own lives is how could they do that to their children? How could they leave their children behind? Is that the wrong question for us to ask?
Absolutely. I was seeing how my life had spun out of control, and I didn't know how to reach out. And so when I saw that I just was hitting bottom, and I thought of the burden I was going to become to my kids, that's when it was rational to me that they would be much better off without me.
So in your mind, you weren't leaving them, you were actually thinking you were a burden to them and that they would be better off
They
without
would be
you as
in
their
a better
mother.
situation.
It's okay to not be okay. I had spent a year in Iraq from ages 18 to 19. My job involved photographing of mass graves. And it haunted me in ways that I couldn't understand and I didn't have the vocabulary to describe. I had lost purpose in my life. I had lost control of everything. Attempting suicide was an expression of control over my own destiny.
We all go through something that's very jarring to us. What's the difference between someone who just powers through and someone else that just says, I can't take it anymore? Is there an answer to that, Desiree?
I think we all have a different capacity for pain and our ability to withstand it.
Before I came, I was talking to experts and they said you should not ask how they attempted suicide. And I said, why is that an impolite or inappropriate question?
It's been proven to be unsafe.
It triggers people.
Yeah.
We know that Robin Williams' death was covered.
Yes.
We knew exactly how he did it,
Yes.
where he did it, what he did it with.
Yep.
And Kate Spade did it the same way, and then we described it again, and then we had Anthony Bourdain.
Sometimes we're thinking, well, I don't want to talk about it, because if I ask her how she's doing or ask him how he's doing, that'll just make him feel really bad. And then I could trigger something. Should we ask you? Should we go and talk to you about it? What should we do?
There's a myth out there that if you ask someone if they're suicidal, that it will trigger a thought of suicide. That's not true. If the thought wasn't there, you're not going to make it there.
You're not planning it if it wasn't
You're not
there.
planning it there. And I think what people tend to do because they're afraid is say, you're not thinking about doing something stupid, are you?
Yes.
And then
There you
I
go.
now know that you think that's stupid, so I'm not going to tell you I might not tell you the truth. So it's really actually really like, hey, you seem really down. Have you had thoughts of harm? Are you okay? Do you want to go for a walk?
Did all of you hide how you were feeling?
I absolutely did a fantastic job of always being on point.
Yeah.
I was the OCD mom, the OCD COO.
But see, this is what scares me, Lisa. If we don't know you're in trouble, how are your friends and your family supposed to help you if you all hide all of this from us?
Because we need to know that it's safe to tell you.
Yeah.
If it's not safe to tell you, we're going to hide it. And I don't want to say we have to hide.
But you do
I'm making a
hide.
choice to now step out, even though I've lost my job for disclosing that I had a mental health issue.
What happened?
I took on a job at a pediatric office, and I was just doing some like clerk work, and the person who attacked me reached out to me, and that triggered me. I started having thoughts of suicide, and I told my boss, I said, hey, I'm having thoughts of suicide. And she says, oh my God, Kelechi, why don't you go home? Why don't you take care of yourself? Do you know that I went to work the next day and I heard her telling the doctor, we have to fire Kelechi, she's crazy.
You heard her say that?
I heard her say that. I had openly shared that, and then I lost my job. So there is a real risk to sharing.
Everybody or many people have a safe plan.
My resources taught me was to have like a core group of 6 people, and they received a safety plan. If I'm not leaving my house, if I'm not returning your phone calls, if your texts go unanswered for, days at a time, if you see me overly happy or appearing to be overly happy, those are symptoms that you need to reach out and ask me how I am.
Greg, do you have a safe plan?
The only plan I have is when I wake up every morning, I find a reason to live that day.
What was your reason today to live?
To do this. Somebody will see this, and they'll say, if he can do it, I can do it, and they'll go get help.
If you or someone you know is struggling, help is available and you are not alone. Call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline and follow their guidance. The number is 1-800-273-TALK. That is 1-800-273-8255. That is such an important, brave conversation.
Yeah, very
to have,
powerful one, and we wanted to share it with folks who maybe didn't get a chance to see it earlier. Right. Karin, we'll check back in. We'll have another look at your forecast next.
And after weather, a traffic stop in New Jersey that led to a reunion nearly 30 years in the making. We'll have that story when Live at 4 continues.
This is
look at this. It's a man isolated on an island for 29 years. Masafumi Nagase lived alone on this deserted island. Only recently did Japanese authorities force him to go to a hospital. But before he left the island for good, a documentarian visited the island and is now releasing his incredible story. The 82-year-old talks about how the place keeps him free of sadness and human selfishness. The documentary producer says the man left his life as a photographer and found his paradise on the island.
All he had was a volleyball named Wilson.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
It's June 26th, and for the sheer love of all things hair, style, and wisdom, today, National Beautician's Day. Shout out to Debbie, who cuts all of our hair.
Yeah.
I think mine's the easiest.
At a new
salon.
salon.
Yep, Debbie. And many, of course, become close confidants as well.
I love Debbie. She's so laid back. I always feel so zen when I leave her.
And it's National Chocolate Pudding Day
here?
today, Karin. You too, Eric. The two of you earned this afternoon. Give that one to Karin.
I'll give mine to Dylan, who's been running our camera.
He's already had 4 of these.
Yeah, exactly. So is the worst of this behind us now, or?
We still have some stronger storms out there. No warnings right now, which is the good news, but we do have a stronger storm moving through Dane County right now, likely seeing some heavier downpours from about Madison to the west. So we'll talk about that storm as well as what's going to happen for the rest of the evening.
I can't even make that out.
That's rain. The rain. Go away.
Where is that?
We've had several rounds of storms make their way across southern Wisconsin today. You may have woken up to some of those stronger and louder storms early this morning. We had another wave move through late this morning, and now this next batch of storms making its way across the area this afternoon. Right now, the strongest storms located from the very southern part of Columbia County down through the central sections of Dane County, just getting to the Madison area and extending down into the far northern part of Greene County right now. Another little cluster of storms into the western part of Greene County, extending back into Lafayette County. And all of these have been heading in that north to northeasterly direction so far today, heading off to the north to northeast at about 20 miles per hour. So a lot of those making their way toward the Madison area. Not a lot of hail with these storms, perhaps a little bit of hail down into Greene County, but that's about it at this point. The main hail will be rather small, generally a ½ inch or less with these storms, but these have been some heavy rain producers. We've also seen some gusty winds and also some of those tornado reports. Now, we do have a lot of flashes of lightning on the map right now. Some heavy downpours making their way through the central section of Dane County. And this is all kind of a broken line that extends back into the east central part of Iowa. Now, here's our future radar over the next 3 hours, just kind of showing how these storms evolve, continuing to show them making their way off to the north and northeast. A little bit of rotation as a whole with this, and that's all because of this these storms rotating right around the main area of low pressure, which is off to our southwest. Here's the big picture. You can see that bigger rotation with that low pressure system tracking right through the midsection of the country. Now, our severe weather outlook for the rest of today shows that marginal risk for stronger storms here across the southern part of the state. So showing that isolated chance of seeing a strong or severe thunderstorm. And already we have had a few today, prompting those or giving us those tornadoes across the southwest section of the state. Here was the first one. This was at 10:42 this morning. This was in the eastern part of Grant County. We also had another one reported near the Rui area. That was at 11:35 this morning. And then that last one in Blanchardville just before 3 o'clock this afternoon. And also seeing some heavier downpours of rain. You can see some of these storms producing 1 to 2+ inches of rain off to the far northeast. Some areas have stayed completely dry over the last 12 to 24 hours. We do still have that flash flood watch in effect for southern Wisconsin, including the Lafayette, Greene, Rock, and Walworth County areas until 1 o'clock in the morning. Beyond that, temperatures really heat up for later this week. We're looking at highs into the 90s, staying warm and humid into next week as well. And with that, we have those additional alert days in the forecast for Friday, Saturday, and for Sunday with those high temperatures and also high heat index values. 69 and 64 today. Normals for today are 81 degrees and 59. Right now in Madison it's 69 degrees. The air is calm and the air pressure is falling rapidly. Temperatures elsewhere upper 60s to just into the 70s. Warmer right now in Monroe. They've seen a little bit of sunshine, 75 degrees in that area. Across the rest of the region, even some 90s on the map off to the south and southwest. Here's that low pressure system I was mentioning. That's going to continue its path in that eastward direction, keeping those showers and thunderstorms around tonight. Perhaps a pop-up shower tomorrow, but that's about it. Behind that, we get into some dry weather for Thursday, and then eventually this next push of warm air makes its way in for Friday and into the weekend. Showers and thunderstorms tonight. There could be some heavier downpours of rain embedded in there as well. 63 degrees. Tomorrow we'll see more clouds than sunshine. A spotty shower is possible with that high of 78. Here's that future track forecast continuing to show those showers and thunderstorms across the area into early tomorrow morning. Beyond that, perhaps just a stray shower during the day tomorrow, but overall looking a lot drier than what we saw for today. This precipitation potential, this is the latest local model run showing those latest storms making their way through Dane County. Some areas seeing perhaps up to about 3 inches of rain as those track off to the east and to the northeast. Behind that, we get into those very warm and humid conditions. We do have those alert days in the forecast Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for that heat and humidity. There is a slight chance of a thunderstorm Thursday night into early Friday, a better chance of storms from Saturday night into Sunday. Behind that, we stay very warm and humid into next week. Perhaps a slight chance of a thunderstorm for the 4th of July, but better chances arrive toward the end of next week.
We can hear the rain actually on the roof right now as we speak. We got a live look at the the pond out there.
It's overflowing a little
Our
bit.
producer Steve's beloved pond. Soon the fish will be swimming out into the patio area.
It's hard to see where the pond stops and the
Right,
patio
right.
starts.
I hope we don't lose, what are their names? Jessica Carp?
The koi. The koi.
The koi.
Yeah, it has been. The rain is an issue, though. I mean,
It is, yeah. We've had some of that flash flooding potential. You know, we've had 2 months now of heavy downpour after heavy downpour after heavy downpour, and so that has prompted that additional flash flood watch for tonight, and we're seeing some of those heavy downpours right now as well.
All right, Karin, thank you very much.
Thank you, Karin.
Yeah, you're
Next
welcome.
at 4, a routine traffic stop in New Jersey led to a surprise reunion 27 years in the making.
CBS's Michelle Miller has the extraordinary story.
How's it going today? I'm all right, thank you. New Jersey State Police, license, registration, insurance card.
With his body cam rolling, Trooper Michael Patterson pulled over a white BMW for what he thought was a routine traffic stop.
I grew up in Piscataway.
After some small talk, retired police officer Matthew Bailey realized they were from the same neighborhood and had crossed paths before, thanks to the trooper's mom.
I was in labor and didn't realize it. Before you know it, I'm on the bed and Michael's head is crowning.
Every birthday, Michael's mother recounted the story of how an officer helped his dad deliver him at home.
I went out years ago. It was the first baby I delivered was that house. That's why I always remember the address. At the house? In the bedroom. Oh yeah, by myself. That was me. That was me. Get the hell out. That was me. I'm like, wow, is this really happening right now? I just extended my hand. I said, sir, that was me. That was me. My name is Michael Patterson. It's a pleasure to meet you, and thank you for helping deliver me.
So this is the home where Michael was born and raised.
Matthew, Michael, and his mom had a chance to return to the scene of his birth 27 years later.
What was going through your mind?
At that point, I didn't have any children of my own. I had never seen it, experienced it, and I was just trying to recall academy days of my training.
They train in the academy for this?
A brief segment, much too brief.
Yeah. Everybody asks why I don't get so upset. I get upset because I honestly don't know what would have happened had they not come to my aid. So I just want to tell Mr. Bailey I appreciate him coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
To my aid.
It was my pleasure. Great experience.
Michelle Miller, CBS News, New Jersey. Retired Officer Bailey was not ticketed.
The Patterson family says they plan to stay in touch with him. That is remarkable. More at 4. Certain diet trends suggest avoiding carbs and sugar, but what does that mean for certain fruits?
Consumer Reports has the nutritional lowdown on bananas. That's when Live at 4 continues. that amazing picture. That is a live picture right now of downtown Madison. I want that picture so I can frame it and hang it in my house.
From our Edgewater Sky Cam.
Beautiful.
Next at 4, bananas. They are among the most popular fruits in the world, but some consumers have relegated bananas to the do not eat list because of their relatively high sugars and carb content.
Our Leah Linscheid has what nutrition experts at Consumer Reports say whether we should be counting bananas out.
Christian Yanez thinks bananas are one of nature's handiest snacks.
He loves bananas. He eats it as a snack, sometimes after school or in the mornings with his breakfast.
Bananas transport easily in their own packaging, open in a snap, and taste sweet. But some people worry about the amount of sugars and carbs. One large banana has about 120 calories and 17 grams of natural sugars, more than double what you'd get in, say, a cup of strawberry slices, which has 53 calories and about 8 grams of sugar. Which begs the question, are bananas healthy?
Compared to some other fruits, it's true, bananas can be higher in sugars, but it's far less than what you would get in a soda or a candy bar. And even a nutritionist will tell you, it's unlikely you're going to get fat or develop diabetes from eating a banana.
Keep in mind, too, some of the carbohydrates in bananas come in the form of dietary fiber, 3.5 grams in each large banana. That's about 15% of the amount you need every day. Eat green bananas and you get an added bonus, resistant starch.
Resistant starch isn't easily digested, and so it can help to reduce blood sugar levels.
Bananas are also rich in vitamins like B6 and C and a bunch of nutrients, including potassium, which can help promote heart health. So go ahead, give in to the appeal. For WISC News 3, I'm Leah Linscheid.
I don't know about the green bananas. Have you ever heard that before?
I have not heard that before.
Consumer Reports also suggest that be very mindful when your kids eat a banana before bedtime because it's a particularly sticky fruit and the sugars can stick to their teeth, and that increases the risk of cavities if they don't brush after they have a banana.
I like bananas.
We brought you some.
They used to advertise the world's most perfect food, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The people are...
Yeah, it's good news.
Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, if you have a plant or garden question, now is the time to pick up the phone.
Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is here in the studio. She's going to be answering your questions. There she is in the green room. The number to call, 270-9933. Lisa will take your calls when Live at 4 continues.
Your first alert traffic update is showing quite a few slowdowns out there. People are not enjoying the rain, it seems like, on Todd Drive and the Beltline, seeing some very slow going in both directions on our view right there. We are looking at some slowdowns really from Middleton all the way off to the east on the Beltline. We're seeing those kind of sporadic slowdowns from Middleton all the way to Verona Road, then pretty solid red lines from Verona Road all the way back to the east. Seeing some of those slowdowns to around 10 to about 25, 30 miles per hour at this hour. So eastbound times and speeds, you're looking at University Avenue to Verona Road, an average speed of 39 miles per hour. Then heading out to John Nolan Drive, you slow down to about 23 miles per hour. Back in that westbound direction, also seeing some slow going. The main slow spot from John Nolan Drive to Verona Road with an average speed of only 15 miles per hour. That's your first alert traffic.
All right, Karin, thank you. It is time to get those plant and garden questions answered.
Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is here today. Thanks for coming in, Lisa.
I braved the rain.
We were going to do this at the Bruce Company.
Dicey drive.
Dodging puddles out there.
The number to call is 270-9933, and we have 3 lines open if you would like to ask Lisa a question. So thanks for braving it today.
No worries.
Let's go ahead and get to the phones. We'll start with Mark in Fitchburg. Hi, Mark. What's your question?
Hey there. I'm growing some plum trees, and I'm growing some plum trees.
We got you.
It's just like 4 years now, and I'm not getting any blossoms that are turning into plums. I've been giving them an organic boost, fertilizer and manure, and I just at a loss as what more I could do.
Well, plum trees, I'm assuming that you've got them planted in a full sun location because that's the #1 thing that they're going to need. We have had the last couple of springs some really dicey spring weather where they might start to develop some flower buds, and then we get hit with a really cold snap, and that would really affect flowers on plum trees. So make sure that they're in the full sun, and if they're in sort of a low spot in your yard where the cold air would settle, as the spring is ramping up, that might have something to do with it too.
Does that kind of apply with all fruit trees where you get this tricky timing with the frosts and the buds coming
Yeah,
up?
and plum trees are, cherries, peaches, that whole group, they tend to flower early as soon as we get nice weather, and then we get a cold snap and they're done.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, let's go to line 2. Rick is in Madison. Rick, what's your question?
Hi, Pat. I have a Patmore ash tree in my yard that's like a third dead with 2 great big branches dead. Are they salvageable with treatment?
I think you've got emerald ash borer. Without looking at it, it's hard to know. No. The bare tree and shrub, the 12 year-round seasonal thing, they say that they have had success saving trees that have been affected by about 30 to 40%.
We have the town of Madison that came and repaired one in the behind the Ashley Home Store, and it's doing very well.
Yeah, so I would try that, one time and see if you can get some improvement on it. But, it might be on its way out and time to think about replacing it with something else, not an ash.
Do you recommend that? Do you guys even sell ash trees anymore?
No, nobody does anymore.
Okay, that's
nobody
probably
does
smart
anymore.
with all this
yeah,
EAB
people
stuff.
that have them in good shape, treat them.
Yeah.
But Bayer does say that they have had some success bringing trees back.
Oh, that's
It's a shame because there's so many of them.
They are
and they're
beautiful.
the
Yes,
yellow
they are.
color.
All right, let's go to Betty in Beloit. Hi, Betty. What's your question?
Yes, my question is about a flowering crab tree. I'd like to know when is the best time to trim it.
Betty, what you're going to want to do is, if you're just sort of shaping it out, that would be now. We'll soon start to set flower buds for flowers for next year. If you're talking about like major branch removal or anything like that, thinning out the canopy, you'd want to do that once the tree is dormant, so after it loses its leaves.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for calling today.
Let's go to Judy in Spring Green. Judy, go ahead. What's your question?
Yes, thank you. There was an article in the paper this weekend about an African lion tail plant, which looked very good, but I was thinking that native plants are better for one's garden.
Well, I think that native plants are a palette. It's a choice. There are different things that you can plant in your yard. I would certainly be careful and advise people to watch out for things that might be invasive, because that has some really serious effects on what you have in your garden and what's in the rest of the environment. But there's nothing wrong with using exotic stuff. I have a garden full of Japanese maples. I have a black walnut next door, which is a native, and there's little else I can plant. So go ahead and try it. See what happens.
All right, let's go. Okay, let's try to get Mark from Madison on the line. Hi, Mark. What's your question?
Hey, thank you. I had a quick question. So I've been really lucky in growing grass this year, and now there's some areas that look like it's dying, and I was wondering, could that be a fungus because there's a lot of water that's going through there with the humidity and heat that we're seeing? And should I treat it with fungicide? So I would like an answer to that if you have an answer.
It certainly could be fungus. There are a couple that are that like the high heat and humidity of the early summer. It also could be grub damage. So what I would do is get a sample and bring it into the store so we can take a look at it. No point in putting down a fungicide if it's insect related.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Good
Very
stuff. Lots of people lining up.
Yeah, thanks for your calls, everybody. Sorry we're out of time, but good to see you, Lisa. Thank you so much for coming in. We'll see you next time.
Drive safe going home.
Yeah, we'll be right back. Hello, Karen.
Hi there again. Yeah, we've got those showers and thunderstorms making their way across the southern part of the state right now. Notice how they have shown some signs of weakening within Dane County anyway, but still seeing some brief heavy downpours, some flashes of lightning. Nothing that's severe right now. We'll continue to see those showers and thunderstorms this evening. Temperatures in the 60s. By tomorrow, things settle down just a bit. We'll see more clouds than sunshine tomorrow, perhaps just a stray shower, high of 78 degrees. So looking a little warmer tomorrow as well.
Very good. All right, thanks a lot.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Here's what's coming up tomorrow on Live at 4. UW veterinarian Sandy Sawchuck will be here taking your pet calls.
And we'll be looking at the pressures of summer vacations, why you feel you aren't enjoying them as much as you should. That's
I
on
bet
the next.
Mark is.
Yeah, Mark's doing just fine. That's on the next Live at 4.